I spent the afternoon meticulously sorting through old documents and photos in our shared study, organizing our lives into neat folders and boxes, a routine that always filled me with a sense of order and purpose. The room was quiet except for the soft rustle of paper and the hum of our air conditioner. I believed that every item I touched was a piece of our future, a testament to the life we were building together. Then, as I pulled out a stack of receipts to file away our recent expenses, I discovered one that didn't belong. It was a receipt from a fancy restaurant, its details out of place, a silent witness to something I wasn't meant to know. In that instant, every loving promise we had shared, every "I trust you" whispered in our quiet moments, was shattered by the cold truth that my partner had been organizing secret late-night meetings with someone I'd never heard of. I still remember the beginning of our journey with a bittersweet clarity. We met on a brisk winter evening at a mutual friend's holiday party, a serendipitous encounter that filled me with hope and anticipation. He was charming in a quiet, unassuming way, and his eyes sparkled with genuine interest when he spoke about dreams and the future. I was drawn to his calm confidence and the easy way he made me laugh. In those early days, every promise he made about honesty and loyalty felt as solid as the winter snow outside, and I trusted him with every piece of my heart. We spent long nights discussing our plans for the future, the cozy home we'd create together, the adventures we'd embark on, and the family we'd one day nurture. I held on to every word as if it were a sacred vow, convinced that nothing could ever shake the foundation of our love. As the months passed, our lives began to intertwine in beautiful, predictable ways. We developed routines, morning coffees shared in the kitchen, lazy afternoons spent side by side on the couch, evenings where we'd plan for the future over dinner. I took immense pride in our shared home, every corner filled with reminders of our journey, the pictures on the walls, the little trinkets collected from our travels, even the meticulously organized filing system that chronicled our financial and personal milestones. I believed that our life was built on trust, a sanctuary where every secret was meant to be shared and no one would ever need to hide. Then, slowly, subtle cracks started to appear, fleeting moments that I brushed off as the inevitable quirks of a busy life. He would sometimes leave the room to take a phone call and his tone would change ever so slightly, a hint of urgency that I dismissed as work-related stress. There were nights when he would return home later than usual, and though he always had a ready excuse, a nagging thought began to echo in my mind. I told myself that long hours were the cost of success and that a little privacy was natural. I trusted his words completely, believing that our love was unassailable. I never imagined that behind those innocent phrases, there was another world unfolding, a world that was entirely separate from the future we had planned. One day as I was organizing our home office, a small room filled with old family albums, letters, and the remnants of projects we'd once undertaken, I came across a pile of receipts tucked away in a drawer. Most were mundane for groceries and utility bills, but one receipt caught my eye. It was from an upscale restaurant I didn't recall visiting with him, dated on a night he had told me he was working late. My hands began to shake as I picked it up, and a cold dread seeped into my heart. The receipt was crisp and official, its details exact. The name of the restaurant, the date, the total amount, it was too extravagant to be an innocent mistake. I quickly realized that this was not just any receipt. It was a clue, a breadcrumb leading to a secret I had never wanted to uncover. My pulse raced as I sat down at the desk, the receipt trembling in my grasp. I scanned it repeatedly, trying to make sense of it. Every detail pointed to a lavish dinner, a dinner I had never been invited to share. I began to wonder if this was an isolated incident or part of a larger pattern. With a sinking heart, I decided to search through his phone when he was away, knowing that I might find more answers in the digital messages he so carefully guarded. Late that evening, when the house was silent and I was left alone with my thoughts, I hesitantly unlocked his phone. My heart pounded in my ears as I navigated to the messaging app, where a series of conversations caught my eye. There, among routine texts about work and mundane updates, was a thread with a contact whose name I didn't recognize, a conversation filled with playful banter, intimate emojis, and details of secret outings. One message in particular read, "Tonight's dinner was unforgettable. Can't wait for our next adventure. Signed by the named Isabella." My blood ran cold. The evidence was overwhelming. While I had been building our future, he had been living another life, one that involved extravagant dinners and late-night rendezvous with a mystery woman. In that moment, the foundation of trust that I had so carefully built began to crumble beneath the weight of betrayal. Every "I love you" he had ever uttered now felt like an empty promise, a lie that had been spun to keep me in the dark. I felt a tidal wave of emotions crashing over me, shock, anger, sorrow, and a deep, gnawing sense of betrayal that made it hard to breathe. I couldn't fathom how the man I had trusted with every fiber of my being could hide such a truth from me. It was as if the very essence of our shared life had been a carefully constructed illusion, designed to mask the hidden reality of his secret affair. The next few days were a blur of sleepless nights and relentless questioning. I pored over every message, every timestamp, trying to piece together the extent of his deception. I created a folder on my computer and labeled it Truth, into which I saved screenshots of the incriminating texts, the receipt from the fancy restaurant, and any other evidence I could find that pointed to his clandestine meetings. Every new piece of information was a dagger to my heart, confirming that the future we had planned was built on lies. The more I uncovered, the more I realized that I had been living in blissful ignorance, blissfully unaware that the promises of our love were nothing more than fragile words that could easily be shattered. As the evidence mounted, so did the weight of betrayal. I began to see every late-night phone call, every hurried excuse, and every moment of evasive behavior for what it truly was, a window into a hidden life, a secret that he had meticulously kept from me. I felt a growing anger, a burning need to confront the truth and reclaim my dignity. I knew that I couldn't continue to live in a world where my trust was taken for granted, where the future I had envisioned was nothing more than a mirage crafted by his deceit. Determined to find closure, I decided that I had to confront him. I reached out to my closest friend, a compassionate confidant who had always been there for me during the highs and lows of life. Over long, tearful conversations in the quiet corners of our favorite cafe, I recounted every detail of my discovery, the receipt, the hidden messages, the secret late-night dinners. "You deserve to know the truth," she whispered, her voice gentle yet resolute, "and you deserve a love that is honest and whole." Her words, filled with empathy and strength, ignited a spark of determination within me. I realized that while the betrayal was deep and painful, it was also a turning point, a moment that would ultimately lead me to reclaim my life and rebuild my future on my own terms. In the following days, I prepared for the confrontation with a resolve I hadn't known I possessed. I rehearsed my words alone in our quiet living room, standing in front of the mirror until my reflection showed a woman who was both heartbroken and fiercely determined. "I trusted you with everything," I repeated, "and you built a secret life behind my back." Each word became a promise to myself that I would not allow his deception to define my worth or my future. I gathered all the evidence, screenshots, receipts, timestamps, and organized them meticulously into a dossier I labeled Truth. Finally, the day of confrontation arrived. It was a cool, overcast afternoon, the sky a dull, unremarkable gray that mirrored the heaviness in my heart. I sat in our living room, the folder of evidence clutched tightly in my hands, waiting for him to return from one of his late-night calls he had once brushed off as mere work obligations. Every minute felt like an eternity, my heart pounding with a mixture of dread and determination. When he finally walked through the door, his face was calm, his expression a carefully maintained mask of normalcy. I took a deep breath, summoning every ounce of strength, and said, "We need to talk." His eyes flickered with a brief, fleeting uncertainty as they landed on the folder resting on the coffee table. I opened it and began to speak, my voice soft but resolute. "I trusted you," I said, each word heavy with sorrow, "and you promised me a future built on love and honesty. But these messages, these receipts, they reveal a secret life that you have been hiding from me. How could you do this?" For a long, agonizing moment, he sat in silence, the room filled with the unspoken weight of betrayal. His attempts to offer vague excuses, talking about work, stress, and the pressures of his job, fell flat, drowned out by the undeniable evidence laid out before us. The confrontation was a collision of raw emotion and painful truth, a moment when every whispered promise and every tender "I love you" that I had clung to turned into a bitter echo of lies. I demanded the truth not just for my sake but for the future I deserved. A future where trust was a given, not a fragile illusion. "I can't live in a world where your love is divided between me and someone else," I said, my voice trembling with both heartbreak and unyielding resolve. "I deserve a love that is honest, a future where every promise is real." His eyes filled with regret and a silent plea for forgiveness, but I knew that the damage was irreparable. The man I once believed in, the man who had promised forever, was now revealed to be someone who had built a hidden life, piece by painful piece. After that confrontation, the days blurred into a heavy, sorrowful routine. I spent long hours alone in our now empty home, wandering through rooms that echoed with memories of shared laughter and tender moments that now felt tainted by betrayal. I revisited every conversation, every shared secret, each time feeling the sting of a love that had been built on false promises. I questioned every memory. Was I naive? Had I ignored the subtle signs of his deception? The pain was relentless, a constant companion that haunted my every step. Yet, amid the darkness, a small, stubborn spark of determination began to glow. I realized that I deserved a future defined by honesty and trust, a future that I could build on my own terms. I began to seek solace in therapy, where I learned to process the overwhelming emotions that had engulfed me. In the quiet, safe space of my counselor's office, I poured out my heart. Every tear, every sleepless night, every moment of raw, unfiltered pain became a stepping stone on the path to healing. I discovered that while the scars of betrayal might never fully fade, they could serve as powerful reminders of my resilience, a testament to the strength that had carried me through the darkest moments of my life. With time, I also reached out to my closest friends, those who had always been my anchors in times of uncertainty. Their words of encouragement, the gentle support in their embraces, reminded me that I was not alone, that many had faced similar betrayals and emerged stronger on the other side. "You deserve a love that is true and unbroken," one friend told me, her eyes filled with unwavering support. "Don't let this betrayal define your future." Her words became a mantra, a quiet promise that I would rebuild my life piece by piece, reclaiming the dreams that had once been mine. Determined to reclaim my future, I made the painful decision to end our relationship. I consulted with a trusted attorney, and the legal process, though arduous and filled with moments of heartache, affirmed my right to a future free from deceit. Each court session, every document signed, was a step away from the life I had built on false promises and a step toward a future defined by truth, transparency, and self-respect. Leaving our shared home was one of the most heartbreaking yet liberating moments of my life. I packed my belongings slowly, each item a bittersweet reminder of the love I had once believed in. A framed photograph of our wedding day, a box of handwritten letters, trinkets that told the story of our shared journey. With a heavy heart and trembling hands, I stepped out of that house, leaving behind the echoes of a future that was built on lies. I moved into a modest apartment in a quiet neighborhood, a space that, over time, I transformed into a sanctuary of healing and new beginnings. I decorated it with bright, uplifting colors, filled the shelves with books that spoke of resilience, and hung artwork that celebrated the strength of the human spirit. Every morning as I awoke to the soft glow of the new day, I reminded myself that my future was mine to create, a future defined by honesty and self-worth, not by the shattered promises of a hidden life. Publicly, the story of our unraveling union became a quiet undercurrent among our circle of friends and family. Whispers of sympathy, sideways glances, and gentle words of encouragement greeted me wherever I went. I began to share my journey on a personal blog, writing candidly about the heartbreak, the betrayal, and the slow, painstaking process of reclaiming my life. The response was overwhelming. Messages of solidarity from strangers who had experienced similar betrayals, kind words from old friends, and a collective affirmation that true love must be built on trust and honesty. Every message served as a small beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there is light to be found. As the months turned into a year, I gradually rediscovered who I was before the betrayal, a woman with dreams, passions, and an unyielding capacity for love. I ventured back into the world of dating cautiously, each new connection approached with a blend of guarded optimism and hard-won wisdom. Every genuine smile, every sincere conversation, slowly stitched together the shattered pieces of my heart, creating a new tapestry of hope and resilience. I learned that true love is built on transparency, that every promise must be honored with sincerity, and that I was worthy of a relationship where trust was mutual and unconditional. Now, as I sit in the soft, gentle light of my modest apartment, a space that stands as a testament to my journey from heartbreak to healing, I reflect on the long, winding path that has led me here. The memory of that hidden receipt, the secret messages that revealed a life of late-night escapades with a mystery woman, remains etched in my heart as a painful reminder of how fragile trust can be. Yet, it is also a symbol of the strength I discovered within myself. A strength that allowed me to confront the truth, reclaim my dignity, and rebuild my future from the ruins of deception. Every sunrise now is a promise of new beginnings, a chance to rewrite my story, to forge a future defined not by the lies of a broken past, but by the unwavering light of truth and self-respect. I have learned that betrayal, as devastating as it can be, can also serve as a catalyst for transformation, a painful yet powerful invitation to rediscover who we truly are beneath the layers of shattered promises. I now move forward with an unshakable conviction that I deserve a love that is genuine, transparent, and built on mutual respect. A future where trust is not a fragile illusion but a solid foundation for everything I hold dear. This is my story, a journey of shattered dreams, heart-wrenching betrayal, and ultimately the triumphant reclamation of my life. I trusted him when he promised that our home was built on trust and that our future would be filled with unwavering love. But when I found that misplaced receipt and uncovered his secret late-night escapades with someone I'd never known, everything I believed crumbled into bitter fragments. In that moment of devastating clarity, I discovered the strength to gather every piece of evidence, to confront the painful truth, and to reclaim my destiny from the ruins of deceit. Every tear shed, every sleepless night, every moment of raw, unfiltered pain has led me to this place. A place where I now stand as a survivor, determined to live a life defined by honesty, respect, and the unyielding promise that I am worthy of a love that is real. Now, as I step boldly into each new day, I carry with me the lessons of the past and the hope for a future that is entirely my own. A future where every promise is honored with truth, every dream is built on the foundation of mutual trust, and my heart is free to love without fear. Every sunrise is an invitation to begin again, a chance to rewrite my story, to embrace the resilience within me, and to build a destiny that is as brilliant and unyielding as the human spirit itself. I am the architect of my own future, and with each new day, I choose to live a life filled with genuine love, unwavering honesty, and the steadfast belief that I deserve nothing less than a future built on truth and self-respect.